sometimes we might forget the that we were building. Thank you for remembering also to record. I was going to mention that perhaps for those who may not have captured the communication or may not be able to come at it, they'll be able to follow up later. But we thank God because He does not gather us in vain. He has something for each one of us this morning. And I'm looking forward to what He has in store for us. Allow me to try and share my presentation for today. And like Billups has correctly said, these are heavy conversations. Of course, they cannot fit entirely in the time that we have. But I will try to also say as many important things as possible. And that is why I've just chosen to call it financial literacy tips. Last week, same day, we were looking at mindsets. And mindsets would allow us to set a foundation to create a ground upon which every other financial information and knowledge can be able to sit on. And that is a very important conversation. In fact, that is where every conversation of money needs to start from. So those of you that were here, you made the conversation to be lively. We really had an engaging moment, and some of you actually continue to even inbox. I received a few messages from some of you just expressing how your experience was during that session. And we thank God that you were able to find some value out of the same. And we answered many questions. We had a lot of contributions also from your end, and we do not take it for granted. Please confirm that you can see my screen. Someone?
Yes, it's clear. Sawa.
Okay. Sawa. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So after we dealt with the mindset stories, we ended by giving a few tips here and there about money. But today I would want us to dive a bit deeper into the conversation of money. Of course, as I mentioned last time, just keeping it simple, keeping it relatable, things that you can be able to associate with, things that you can also be able to practice in your own situations. And so today I want to focus briefly on these three areas. One, making money, because you cannot manage Hi, I don't know what happened. Please confirm you can still hear me.
I can hear you.
All right, thank you. I don't know exactly what transpired. Right. So I was saying, when it comes to making money, different people will do different things. Some of them may not be ethical, some of them may not be legal. But on this platform, we're learning about best practices, not everything. Okay, so we don't have time and the need to think about practices that are unethical, practices that are illegal, and so on. We are approaching this as I don't know what is happening. Okay. I was saying I don't know what is happening to the recording. It stopped. It keeps stopping and beginning. Yeah. So I just want to share with us two of those realities, and one of the realities is a reality that says money is finite. And on your screen, you can see two cakes. There is the first cake on the left and the second cake on the right. And sometimes I ask people, if you had ordered for a cake and the delivery person delivers the one on your right, the second cake, how many of you can be able to accept that that delivery? So again, like we did last time, we will be using the chat box. So just go to the chat box and tell me whether you would accept this delivery or not, and say why. So just say yes because of this, or no because of this. Okay, we have just 1 minute. Just go to the chat box. Tell me whether you would accept this delivery. You had ordered for a cake. The first cake, they ordered the cake looking like the second one. Would you accept this delivery? Okay, I'm going there. Okay. One person says no, because the cake seems to have been cut. Okay. No, because it's not what I ordered. Okay. I'm coming. But the first response is also very interesting because in most of the places I have asked this question, interestingly, the first answers usually look the same. And everyone seems to be saying the cake is not complete. It has been cut. In fact, some people say that cake is half. I didn't order for half a cake. Okay. And so, right, someone says, no, I'm not sure of the safety of the cut cake. Underline the word cut, all right? And so, as long as a portion has, our understanding is that, and that is the reality, that that cake is not complete. And you did not order for an incomplete cake. Now, money also works the same way. As long as a portion of what you had has been removed from what you had, whatever remains is not complete. So when I say money is finite, I'm just saying that money reduces as you spend it. It's important to remember that money will be reducing as you spend it. As long as you are using money to buy consumer items, that money is coming down. However big it was, even if you were to be given 1,000,000 shillings, as long as you are going to a shop to buy something that is not bringing you money, that money is coming down. Okay? So money reduces as we spend it. Why I came up with this reality, it was after I observed how many people behave when they receive some money. Many students, when they receive, be it pocket money or those that are being sponsored by HELP, or is it HEF, whichever, or receiving any sponsorship from anywhere, when they receive the money, there's an excitement that comes, and some people begin to fly very high. They want the whole world to know that they have arrived. They want to make statements. We used to say when we were in the university, whenever we would receive the help money, we would actually comes, we used to say we must reduce it to manageable levels. Okay, so we would go on rampage. You know, the first week, the whole of Nairobi will know that we are here. And I was in the main campus of the University of Nairobi. And so you can imagine with the kind of life in the CBD, the nightlife would know us. Those days, I was not as committed to Christ as I am today. And so we would be calling shots in the night. Sometimes I kept imagining if someone were to take a video, and we used to have those instances once in a while. The news would show students at night. We didn't have this data privacy thing back then. So you just find yourself in the news. And so if your parent were to if your parent were to see you in the news, sometimes I kept wondering, hey, they would wonder, they would even collapse, wondering what our children were doing in the middle of the night. But we used to say we are reducing the money to manageable levels. Then come week 2, you start finding us, looking like tumeanza kunyeshewa. And so we used to say, that first week we would afford to eat chicken, right? Then now from the second week, the money has come down to manageable levels. We start eating chicken products. And then from the third week, we go back to where we belong and we start eating like chicken. Okay. You know, the kienyeji chicken, how it will scratch the ground. Whatever it finds is whatever it eats. So even in the life of people who are working, very many of them, when they receive some money, they get excited. And that excitement and the need to show the world that you have some money in your pocket begins to mislead them into making expenditure that is not planned and budgeted for. And that begins to bring a problem. Please remember that money is reducing as you are spending. Therefore, next time you receive some money, this is the point. Be careful to only spend it on things that are adding value to you. That even if the money gets finished, it does not leave you with regrets. You're not looking back and regretting, oh, did I have to spend the money that way? Imagine last week tu nilikuwa na thao. Jana nilikuwa na thao. Okay? So today you don't have it. You're actually hungry. That's why you're remembering. Jana nilikuwa na thao. But jana ulitesa. You wanted everyone to know you were buying. Okay. I hope you're back. You able to hear me? Someone.
Yes, Sam.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I don't know what is happening today with the recording. That's why I pause when it tells me it has stopped, so that those who will be following the recording later do not miss out. All right, so I was saying this is the only reality I will allow you to say it. So I just want you to say it wherever you are. Just say it to yourself. Just open your mouth and just say there is no small money. Whether you will be whispering if you are in a public place so that you don't make noise for people, but just say it to yourself that there is no small money. Right? So 3, 2, and go. You may not have to unmute, but just say it to yourself where you are, that there is no small money. All right. Thank you for saying. This is a very powerful reality of money. Very many people despise humble beginnings or small beginnings as they look at. And in the world of money, we do not despise money. Any coin is important and needs to be treated like a million coins. That's why they say if you cannot manage a shilling, you will not be able to manage a million. Okay, those that have been faithful with small matters can be trusted to be faithful with big matters. But if you cannot be able to be faithful with small matters, then it will be a very high risk and trusting big matters in your hands. Okay, so there are very many people who look at their money and call it small, whether it is income if they are working, or profit if they're in business, or someone has given you a gift, or someone has given you some money for upkeep or something. There are people who will look at their money and call it small. Of course, I know money will be small if you compare it with another person's money. And some of you who are in colleges or who will be joining colleges, you will be in colleges with different children from different backgrounds. You will be in college when your pocket has 50 shillings. There will be someone whose pocket has 5,000 shillings at that time. So when you look at your 50 shillings versus their 5,000 shillings, your 50 shillings will appear to be smaller. Okay, so that is common sense. But I'm talking about the danger of demeaning your money, calling your money small. What it does is that it blocks your thinking. You are not able to be creative. You can't do much with money you have called small. So you don't see creative ideas coming to you because you have called your money small. And that is dangerous in financial progress. So it's important that we stop calling our money small. Words are very powerful, and they influence a lot of what happens in our lives. So whichever money you have, allow it to do the most it can do for you. Do not open your mouth and call it small money. If you do that, then that money becomes even smaller. You don't see anything good that can come out of that money. Please remember that. Any money that comes to you can be able to do something good for you. There are people who don't save because they feel, sasa hata nikisave 50 bob itanisaidia na nini. Last week we said, it's about the habit. So do not despise any amount you are able to save. That is where the culture of saving will begin to develop from. Today you will be saving 50 because the income you have allows you to only save 50. Once you have that culture, tomorrow when your income grows, you will be able to grow the amount that you will be saving. So please remember that there is no small money. Okay. Now, I want now to talk about what I'm calling wealth creation, even though I'm not going into every detail of wealth creation, but the story of creating wealth, because you will be wealthy people in the near future, and you are beginning your journey towards creating wealth right now. Some of you have already begun, okay? And that is the journey of financial accumulation. That is the journey of putting coin on coin on coin. Okay, so I'm talking about how to be wealthy and not how to become rich. I can't teach how to become rich. There is a thin line between being rich and being wealthy. Sometimes you will hear people say all wealthy people are rich, but not all rich people are wealthy. Simply because when we speak about your riches, we are talking about what you currently possess without caring how you got it. Okay, so you might be broke today, you don't have anything. Then tomorrow, you might stumble on a bag of money as you walk wherever it is. Maybe thieves, robbers robbed somewhere last night. They were being pursued, so they threw the bag of money and they disappeared. So you might be the lucky one to bump into that bag of money. When we measure what is in your possession, we will say, man, you are now rich. But we cannot say you are wealthy, because wealth is created procedurally. It's a result of a process. Okay? Brief step. So now that we cannot learn about accidents, I can't teach you how to stumble on a bag of money. Okay? But it is possible for us to learn about how to become wealthy. Good thing is that when you become wealthy, you will be rich. All right? So let us learn that which is within our control, how to become wealthy. And in a nutshell, how to become wealthy are the points you are seeing on the screen. When I teach about wealth creation, I have a triangular model I use, but the words on your screen are simplifying that triangle. The triangle usually has three critical stages. But now the words on the screen are explaining what I usually explain in that triangle. For you to make wealth, number one, you must make money. Find something that your hands can do that can attract money to you. That's where we start from. Okay, and we will shortly look at what you can do for money to start coming in your hands. Once money starts coming in your hands, then you must learn how to manage that money. You must plan how to use it. You must be budgeting for the money. Okay, then as you manage that money, you remember not to eat everything. And so you start retaining part of that money. Why are you retaining? You're retaining so that it becomes a seed that you will go and plant for multiplication, for growing your money. So wealth creation follows the seed principles that you put down something that is small, bit by bit, and that thing that looked small eventually grows and brings fruits that will be many in future. So that, in a nutshell, is the process of wealth creation. Today, we will say a few things about the first three. And like Bilab said, we cannot be able to exhaust everything in this one sitting. However, in future, should there be opportunity, we can be able to delve deeper into these segments. But there are crucial details that I would want us to capture, especially on the first three: making money, managing money, and retaining money. Let's begin by making money. Those of you that are on this call, some of you have already tried to make your money. You have tried to do something that brought you money. I just want us to go to the chat box. Tell me what you have done recently that gave you money. For those that have done something to get money, just go to the chat box. Tell us some of the things you have done to make money. Whether you were once employed somewhere, or it's a business you did, whatever you did, just tell us in a few seconds in the chat box. What did you do to get some money recently? Recently could be in the last 1 year. What have you done to make some money? And even those who did not make any money this last 1 year, but you have ever done something in your life to make money, just share with us what you did. All right, I can see them coming. Okay, so let me see what some of you are saying. All right, someone says, I planted vegetables and sold them. Wow, that's nice. Someone said they started a business. Okay, just that they've not told us the business. Okay. Someone says they sold clothes and they're also doing nails. Okay, and making some money out of it. Someone is saying repairing phones, radios, and TVs. Wow, thank you, thank you. This is great. Someone is saying poultry farming. Fantastic. Sold thrift handbags. Yes, that will make you some money. Bead making. Yes, this is where we get to commercialize the gifts and talents that God has given us. Rearing of poultry for eggs and meat. Nice. I began a shop. Wow. Selling chicken. You people need to give me your location. You know, when you mention chicken and where some of us come from, that's an attraction. I might need to pay you a visit. Someone says, I am an electrician, so I generate money from the job. Fantastic. Someone is saying, I worked as an IT guy at church. Yes, and I got something. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very good. So you will realize that we have many things we can do to receive some money. And I took some time to look at all these things. There is a time I read what is captured in Ecclesiastes about us being able to, to cast our financial expectations in 7 ways, or even 8. And so I used to wonder, hey, so how can people make money in 7 different ways? Not really 7 ventures, but 7 different ways. Recently, I had a webinar where it was a public webinar. I do that every month, where I was training on how to make multiple sources of income. So what I want to show us is just a summary of what I came up with, the crystallization of the 7 different ways people can make money. Other coaches and other trainers have also spoken about some of them, and different people categorize them differently. Others divide them into 2, others divide them into 5, others divide them into whatever numbers. But I love this categorization of 7. So I just want to mention the 7, but we will say a bit more about 2 of them. Okay, so the first way you can make money is that you can make income that is called remuneration. Remuneration is the income you get in exchange for your sweat. Skill and time in that church, and the church paid them. There is someone who were paid. They were either paid wages or they were paid salary. Okay, so those that are employed are earning remuneration income. Those that will be doing gigs like myself, we also are earning remuneration income. When I go to consult for some people, I spend my time there, my expertise there, and all right. The recording had also stopped. So yeah, some of you said you opened shop. Some of it that you are able to do some agribusiness. Okay, some of you are in the business of uh, of selling eggs and all of that. So for you to make profit, there is money that goes in, the inputs or the buying price, for you to get this item that you want to sell. Then you sell it at a price higher than what went into making this thing. The difference is what we are calling profit. Okay, so if you are employed or you get remuneration income, nothing also stops you later on from doing something else that can give you profit. Okay, so there are some people who are employed, but they also do agribusiness. So they have reared some chicken, they have reared some cows, they sell milk, they have a shop in their neighborhood, they have a portion mill, they have a barber shop, and all those things that will give them profit income. We will say a few things about that. You can also make interest income. This is when you have some money and you give this money to someone else to use. So you become a lender, and this person pays you interest for using your money. The most basic level of getting interest is when you become like a Shylock. You're the one lending money to people. So when your friends, they want 100 shillings, you tell them, takupea hiso, lakini unirudishia ikiwa 110. So the 10 bob is the interest. Some of you will be saving money in banks. Please don't put money in a bank that is not giving you something. So if you wanted to save and you know that it is money you will not be requiring very soon, please find an account that can be earning you some money. Okay. These days it has been made easier even on the digital front. Safaricom will be giving you some options for saving money and being able to earn something on top. Even banks have got specialized saving accounts that will give you something on top so that your money does not sit idle. Remember, we said when you're saving, it will be seed that needs to be planted. So it needs to call for some money. So if you give someone money, like put the money in the bank, Luvono, you may kindly mute. The bank records that you have actually lent them money. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. So according to the bank, when you deposit your money, you think you're keeping your money safely, but the bank looks at it as a burden. It's a liability in the books of the bank. The money you give them, it's not an asset. So what they do is they quickly turn it into an asset by lending it out, so that when they have lent it out, they make interest on it. So if you yourself, who lend them the money, is not earning something, then you have become a very misguided used to make money. Okay, but that's just another income that you can make. People can also make dividend income. This is where you invest in another business. Then you agree that when they make profit, they'll also share with you as part of the owners of that business. So maybe your friend has a shop, but they don't have capital. And then they call you, they tell you, boss, I'm looking for some 5,000 to boost my business, but I don't want a loan. Or maybe you're the one who will tell them, I can give you the 5,000, but if you can make me a partner, or when the business has made profit, you can share with me a certain percentage of the profit. What they will give you will not be profit for you; it will be dividends, because you're not trading to get profit. You will be receiving dividends. It is the earning you get for investing in another person's business. The people who buy shares in companies in the stock market, when those companies make profit, they declare dividends for their shareholders. And so that is another type of income. You can also make income called rent. This is the income you make for allowing someone to use your asset, and they pay you for using your asset. Okay. By the way, where do we get rent from? Someone in the chat box, where do we get rent from? Where do people make rent from? Yes, I'm in the chat box. We are asking where do we usually get rent from? I'm sure you've heard of people talking about rent, meaning rent, but perhaps you're giving other people rent somewhere. How do people make rent or rental income? I don't know whether I'm audible. I could be talking to myself. I want to confirm that we are still together.
Yes, we are.
Fantastic. Okay. The responses have started coming. All right. So rental houses, from houses, apartments, commercial buildings, land leases, Airbnb, all that. Wow. Thank you so much. Yes. There is a reason why I asked that question is because we are also debunking some of the half-truths and lies that society has given us. And one of the lies that society has given us is the lie that rental income can only come from real estate, from buildings and land. Like I've said, rental income is the income we get for allowing someone to use our asset. And in that definition, I'm not using houses and I'm not using land. I'm using the word asset. So it is upon you to now replace the word asset with your actual asset. So there are many people who should be earning rent, but they are not earning it because they believe rent is only coming from houses, and today they don't have money big enough to make houses. So they just continue to rely on their current source. So I had to simplify this concept of rental income so that some of us can begin to engage. For another person, the asset is the rental houses. That's okay, no problem. For another person, it is land they are hiring out, and they get rent on the land, no problem. For another person, it could be a public address system. You know, you can join forces with your friends and you buy some microphones, some speaker, and in the rural events where we come from, we start hiring out. We say, when a function is happening and you want our PA system, we give you pay us 3,000 or 5,000. That money that they give you is rental income. For another person, it is the plastic chairs that we sit on during events. So you can decide you will be buying plastic chairs every time you get some money. If the chairs sell at 500 or 1,000 shillings, every time you get some money, you buy a chair, you buy a chair, you buy a chair. Then now you start telling people, if you want chairs, we can hire them for you. I know events that hire chairs, I know churches that hire chairs, and so on. So even if you're giving out a chair at 10 shillings or 20 shillings, that is rental income. The chair is yours. They only use it and return to you. So please start thinking about it. It can also give you income. So just figure out what is it that you can be hiring out that will be giving you rental income. Some people will get capital gain. Capital gain is the income we get for disposing an asset, selling an asset at a higher price. Please do not mistake it with profit. Profit, we have stock, we have the things we are trading with. Capital gain is where you bought an asset, maybe land, and later you decide to sell. It was just your asset, not stock. You are not a land seller. Or you bought a calf, ndama, not because you are a cattle trader. You just bought ndama, alafu umeilisha, labda ulikuwa unataka ikuwe ya maziwa, and then at some point in future, maybe some money is needed, and you decide, let me sell my cow. So the difference between the price you acquired it and the price you're selling, we will call it capital gains. It was not stock that you trade with. It's an asset you perhaps bought for a different reason, but eventually you decide to sell. Or those people who buy assets for speculation purposes. So you bought, then you say, wacha nikae nayo, bei yake ikipanda in future, nitauza. We will call it capital gains. Okay. Then lastly, you can also get royalties. Royalties is the income you get for allowing other people to use your ideas to make money. Then they share with you the money they make. So as you go through school, one day you might come up with a very brilliant idea, and maybe it will be a business. So other people may want to have the same business in their towns. So they will approach you and say, boss, I know you have a business called whatever it is. Let me give you examples that you have seen. You have seen butter shops. All those butter shops you have seen, wherever you have seen, it does not mean butter has opened a branch. That's how we look at it. Many people say butter has opened a branch near my town or in my town, my hometown. Many times it's not butter opening a branch. It is someone like you looking at your town and realizing there is potential here. And so you reach out to them and you tell them, I have space and I have scanned the environment and I think butter can be able to do well in our town. Then they will allow you to have a butter. They'll give you conditions. You will have a written contract. And they will give you us, and we will dictate the prices. Then when you make profit, this is what you will give us. So there's a share you will give them. That share is what I'm calling royalties. Okay. There are people I have licensed to make money from my books, from the sale of my books or the use of my books. One of them is the global market called Amazon. They have a library. So I have given my books to be part of the books that are hired out in the library system. So when Amazon gets money from subscribers, they share that money with authors. So periodically, they give us a report on the amount of royalties that we have earned if our books were read in a particular month. And then they pay us that money. That is called royalties. I have allowed them to use my ideas, money system, then they share part of that money with me. You can come up with a brand for selling snacks. You have started seeing, it's called Samosa World or something. In almost every center, there is now a Samosa World in Nairobi, and it might keep spreading. Now, it gets wherever it stops. changes, things like AI coming into our space. So I'm just mentioning some of the things that people are making money in. Some of them may be long-lasting, some of them may fade with time. And I'm just mentioning skills and ventures that some people are making money from, just to trigger our minds to start thinking about where we can be making money from ourselves. There is a skill called the selling skill. Can double it up with marketing. The skill of being able to sell is a very powerful skill. Okay, how to be able to sell. There are many businesses or people who are very good at what they do, but they don't know how to sell. They cannot convince someone to buy from them. And in business, I like saying a product that is a bad product that is very well marketed will sell better than a brilliant product that is poorly marketed. So you have to also learn the selling skill. This is like a global skill. Everyone that is in business will want to boost their sales. If you can be that person that can help them drive sales, then they will have you on board. Okay, the selling might be manual or digital. So as we advance in technology, the manual one might fade, but it pays to learn the skills of selling. So it could be digital marketing, digital selling, being able to convince people that I have these products and so on. So someone can engage your skills and pay you for those skills. Or if you become your own business person, those skills will help you even as you market and sell your own products. We are now in the AI dispensation. We cannot run away from AI. Fighting it will not help much. Sometimes I used to feel for lecturers. I remember when AI started, and even before AI, when Google came, back in the day when the internet reality came. And I remember some professors, during their days, they used to do manual research, and that was the pure research. Now, as we just Googling things, and they used to be some of them would feel the pain, you could even see. And I'm sure you've had some people complain about missing marks and those wrangles with some of the old school lecturers then. And it was largely a resistance to change. But you see, you cannot stop an idea whose time has come. The internet had come, and there was no one and nothing that could obstruct the force of internet. So the best would have been for them to quickly adapt and begin to ask themselves how can be utilized. The time they came to Google and they were able to find ways, feel them lamenting, and sometimes even when a student has done their own work, they have not even used AI. Some of them, because of those insecurities, they will tell you this is AI. And students would begin to wonder, and you feel victimized. Why am I being told it is AI and this is my work? And just because they were not able to put a line between AI and non-AI work. If you have interacted with AI a lot, some of us begin to have a way we can tell this looks like AI language. But then it is a tool that is now here with us. And we just need to embrace it and see how best we can maximize on it. Please, good people, take time and learn AI skills. There are very many AI platforms. They are useful. They can help you do a lot of things within a very short time. Okay. Long time ago, graphic designers would take a lot of hours designing things that these days will take minutes. You simply put a command and your poster is ready. Okay. So if you are the old school graphic designer, you will keep crying about AI. What perhaps you could do is quickly also learn AI tools that can support your graphic design and have them on board to make your work easier. All right. And the world is moving into the spaces of agility, and people want things that are moving fast. So you will stick there, telling people, the human touch to design is unbeatable. But the world is now looking for speed, and AI is getting better every day. Okay. So while you keep lamenting, you will be left behind and you might become obsolete. So please learn those skills. You can make money out of them. These days, you don't have to be a super designer to be able to make some money from some of these design related things. So take time to just learn them, learn Canva, learn the basic chat GPT. It can do a lot of things than just asking them simple questions as we keep asking them. Okay. And you'll be able to automate a lot of things that can make your life very easy. Okay. People are making money through agribusiness. Some of you have confirmed. Content creation is here with us, good people. You can make money creating content. And you have beautiful stories. Some of you have beautiful stories. You can start your vlogs, showcasing your life in the village, showcasing your life as students, and you begin to create a followership. After a while, you'll be able to monetize those platforms. It may take long, it may take a short time, depending with how your content will be received. That space requires consistency, but it begins to earn you income. Okay. I used to hear people talk about that income, and I used to wonder how it looks like until I was able to monetize my platforms. And I remember the first time I received payment from YouTube, it felt nice. It was 10,000 shillings. And that money just came. And you feel like someone has just thrown 10,000 your way. Of course, you're not remembering the reality that you've put years of work into this to even get subscribers and to have the content going. And that felt nice. And then the president announced that Facebook will start monetizing here. And we were looking forward to it. And Facebook had very many threshold requirements for you to be able to monetize. And I remember working very hard to tick all the boxes. And by 2023, I had ticked all the boxes for Facebook, but I couldn't monetize. Came 2024, when the announcement was made, I couldn't monetize. So I stayed there for a while until last year, the last half of last year. That's when I was able to monetize Facebook. And when that money comes, you feel good, right? Of course, it has been a journey. And some people will tell me, Coach, you people are lucky as you're telling us about content creation. You have a huge following. That following did not come overnight. My Facebook page, for example, has existed for the last 12 years. Okay. Proper growth started when I became deliberate, when I developed a plan, and when I became strategic about it. And that was in the year 2023. That's when proper growth started. So from 2014 to 2023, those 9 years, I just had a page that was just there for me to be putting random things. Of course, it helped me get some followers. But in those 9 years, I was only able to get about 5,000 followers. Okay, so beginning of 2023 is when my account got to the 6,000 mark. And that is when I had to sit and now develop a plan and realize I can't have 6,000 people and I'm not deliberate about what I am doing for them. And now from the time I started becoming deliberate, those of you that follow me, you have seen on Facebook, we are now at 312,000. And we thank God for the progress, and the numbers are still growing. But that requires consistency. Consistency. My daily target of posting is 5 posts per day minimum. 5 posts per day. On the majority of the days, I have achieved that target. but you can imagine what it would take to create and develop content that can allow you to post at least 5 items every single day. On few occasions, I get to miss out. Sometimes the content I've created in advance gets to be depleted, and a lot of things happen. But on most times, I get to meet that target, minimum 5 posts per day. Sometimes I've posted even 12 posts in a day. So that's how the numbers then come. So it's an avenue that can also help you. Electrical installations, one of you has already confirmed that he's an electrician. Those skills are not going anywhere. We are still using electricity. We will need electricians. Plumbing services will be needed. Hairdressing and beauty, and that is where kinyozi and all those things come in. Welding and fabrication will be needed as long as people are still constructing. Some people might also make money from driving and riding skills, okay, where you can do delivery. You can also be engaged in PSV and things like those. So just learn as many skills as possible. Errands. People are making money running errands in the CBD. I recently met a guy who makes, on a bad month, they make 30,000 shillings. Like they make a minimum of 1,000 shillings on a bad day. Okay? They just run errands. There are people who just want someone to send. Peleka hiki tu KICC, they charge you 100 shillings. Kama ni mbali kidogo, 200 shillings. Okay? Nikimbizie hii KICC, 100 bob. Okay? Akifikisha huko anawaambia, as he delivers, or as she delivers, anawaambia, this is what I do, this is my number. Mkinihitaji mnanipigia. So huyu wa KICC ashajua. Kesho akitumwa kwingine, akifikisha anawaambia, ukihitaji kitu unaniambia. So there are people who wake up every morning, they are in the CBD. When they leave their houses, they're not going to a particular office. Wataenda tu wakae kama ni hapo Jivanji, hapo Kencom, wherever it is. But now they have spread their contact. And as long as you are dedicated to your work, you are very consistent, you're giving good quality work, then people begin to like you and you are honest. That people can send you with their valuables, they trust you. That's it. And there are people who have thrived on errands. And they make money more than people in offices. And people in offices sometimes will look down upon them. You know, they call them my errand boy. But that errand boy can even pay your salary. All right. So people make money through errands. I'm just sharing these options because you don't know where you can find yourself at any given time. You could be making some coins even as you wait to clarify some things. Some people are selling clothes, like you have said. Some people are vending food. That would be chipo, smoky, eggs, and any other food items because people are still becoming hungry. Okay, allow me now to say something about what I've been describing are just things that are enhancing the remuneration and the profit way of making money. And now I want to also just say a bit more about the profit way, the business way, okay? Because we promised we'll say a few things about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is just largely concentrating on venture creation, where you get to see gaps in society and you develop a solution for filling those gaps, and you make money as you offer those solutions. You are seated at your village, you hear your friends complaining about the posho mill being very far away, and you start telling yourself, looks like there is a gap here. After you've analyzed and you realize, the people that are complaining about the posho mill are very many. That if we brought one here, or a kiosk, or a kinyozi, then looks like we can make business. And so you bring a kinyozi, you are filling a gap, and you make money out of it. So entrepreneurship is more deliberate than just opening a business. That's why we say all entrepreneurs are business people, but not all business people are entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It starts by the mindset of saying it is possible, that if I fill this gap, I will make money. And it has some deliberate effort going into it. You take some time to analyze. That's why we say entrepreneurs will take calculated risks. they're not just gambling. They sit and analyze situations and then they take action. So they're not allowing themselves to be affected by fear. They want to take action. But there are some lies and half truths, what I'm calling myths of entrepreneurship. There are things you have heard people say or you will hear, and some of them are not very true about entrepreneurship. Okay, some people have said starting a business generates income fast. Some people, you've heard them say, if you want to be a millionaire, be a business person. And some of you are leaving school telling yourself, I'm not going to be employed by anyone because I want to be a millionaire fast. When you get to open your shop, everyone opens their shop knowing that they will make their first million almost the same month. But the reality on the ground is very different because businesses obey process. Okay. And that process is not definite. Nobody knows when they'll be able to break even, when they start making profit, and how long it will take for them to make the kind of money that they're dreaming of making. So don't just go into business just because you've heard that if you want to be a millionaire, go into business. If you go into business with that mindset, you will be very, very shocked. Okay, so you go into business with an open mind, with readiness to deal with uncertainties. Okay, those of us in business, we wake up not knowing how things will go. You don't know how many clients will visit your business. Some days will be dry, nothing happening. Okay, so you just have to be prepared for that. Some people say entrepreneurs are born, not made. Umesikia watu wakisema biashara iko na wenyewe. That is not entirely true. While it is true that some people are gifted in business, it almost runs in their blood, that even when they're still children, you can see them having some business tendencies. It is not to say that the rest of us cannot learn about business. Okay, so business may not have been done by anyone in your family, like myself. In my family, no one has ever done business before me. But I went back to school to study entrepreneurship. That is what I did in my master's level. And I went there to convince myself that it was possible for me to also run business. I told you last week that I was employed as a bank. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We're just doing this for the sake of those that will be following the recording so that they also do not get to miss out. Okay, so everyone can learn and do this and actually excel in it. Some people have said entrepreneurs have freedom and they work less. So when we were employed, I remember many people used to say, I want freedom, I want my time, I want to be in charge of my from a laziness. I don't want to be waking up early. I want to be in charge of my day. I want to wake up at 11 if I want, and so on. So they go into business thinking that business will make them their own boss, and therefore they have time to sleep as long as they want, without anyone without anyone policing them. Shock on you when you come into the business world. Actually, sleep. Yes, because you are the security person, the T-boy, the T-girl, everything. Okay. and you're figuring things out. Sometimes you get orders and they disturb you the whole night. So please don't come into business and you will sleep longer, or you you can choose not to work, and so on. In fact, there is a lot of work here. Okay, for this at 1 and 2 a.m. Okay, because sometimes those demand, and there is very little you you and so, like now, the client I'm working for here is a government entity. I'm here to engage with principals of TVET institutions. So all the principals of TVET institutions are gathered here. So I was engaging them yesterday and today. So now they are very funny. They are to focus on this. And the areas they are telling you to focus on are totally different from some of the areas you had prepared. So now you can't sleep, because tomorrow you don't want to look like you are not prepared for the same. So please be careful as you think about it. Is not true. It varies from business to business, but every business can be started in its smaller version. Don't be afraid of starting small, and then you scale. You get to grow it as you progress. Some people say business success depends on luck. That is a lie. Okay. While there might be things that look like luck, from where we sit as Christians, we will call it favor. But you will also remember that luck or favor, you've heard people say luck favors the prepared. And even those of us that are also praying for God to favor us, you will also encounter and us being able to trust that God can be able to give us favor. All right. So there is how that favor is attracted. But beyond that, God Himself created a worker in us. Therefore, as we look forward to His favor, we are supposed to be in the path of doing that which needs to be done. All right. So you can't just relax in your business. You open your shop, you are treating customers badly. You are not even telling people about your shop. When they come, you answer them rude. Bahati yako itafika, hata mimi bahati yangu itafika. And the music you have put, we spoke last week about your environment and those things. So you listen to music that says bahati ya mtu haijulikani, siku moja hata bahati yako itafika. Look, business is work. So just come with an attitude of working. How do people become entrepreneurs? First, you believe in yourself. We have said anyone can be able to learn about and excel in business. So believe that you can actually be able to do it. And please know your skill set. What are you good at? What do you know? You know, that's where we want to start. What do you know, even as you now progress into what you don't know? But currently, what do you know? What skills do you have that we can commercialize? When I discovered my speaking gift, so the next question was, how do I commercialize it? And that's how I came up with a training, coaching, and consulting firm. So we get to do a lot of things. We get to do training. We get to do some consultancy work. We help organizations develop policies in the lending space, and even strategic planning. And we do team building for institutions and so on. But now that is the business entity, the company, because now I work with other people. Okay. But the root of that company was based on a gift that I had, a skill of speaking to inspire. Okay. So get to know what you're good at. Up with the business idea. What is it that you want to venture in? Okay. Then get to study the market for your idea. If you are to convert this idea into business, who will buy it? Who are you targeting? If you want to be selling smokies, as someone said last week, who will you be looking to sell your smokies to? Are you targeting students? Are you targeting people in churches on Sundays and so on? Okay. Then you design your business. Will it be a sole proprietorship? Will it need a kiosk? Will it be online? And so on. Then you need to know the requirements of beginning that business. Does it require permits? Does it require special licenses? If you're dealing with food and maybe it requires you to have some special permits for handling food, that varies from industry to industry. You need to know so that you can comply. If you don't comply, you will be arrested with your food as you vend, is it vend or vendor your food, and that will crash your business. So you want to make sure that you know the requirements and you want to obey them from where you are with what you have. That's why I said, don't be afraid of starting small. Start from where you are so that you can now begin to grow. Some people have beautiful dreams, very huge dreams. They're dreaming of having a supermarket tomorrow. But today they have power to start a kiosk, but they cannot see a supermarket inside a kiosk. I was speaking to business people in Kawangware some time back, and where we were running the training, we were next to one of the big supermarkets in Kawangware. Those of you that have been to Kawangware, there's a supermarket there called 46 Supermarket. And I happen to know the story behind that supermarket because when I was a small boy, the owner of that supermarket actually literally had a kiosk and we used to buy there. So I know where that supermarket has come from. And so I told them, in this class, we have young people who look at that supermarket and say, mazee mtu akinipea tu hiyo super, nitakuwa nimeomoka. And there's a guy who lifted his hand and said, Coach, I am that young man. Actually, mi mtu akinipea hii, dream yangu tu nilikuwa na super kama hii. Mtu akinipea hii, mi nimekafunga, sitasumbua mtu tena. And I was telling them, today as we dream about owning that supermarket, the truth is, some of you, God has already given you the seed to the supermarket in the form of the ability to have a kiosk. Then I gave them a little story of that supermarket. And I told them that supermarket you're admiring today is a story of more than 35 years. So today you are admiring it as it is. And you're dreaming that one day, kuna mamilioni zitatoka tu, God knows where, land into your hands, and you wake up tomorrow putting that supermarket there. It doesn't work like that. Okay? So please do not be afraid of starting small. Start where you are with what you have. Then now, once you have started, then work your idea out. Once you have opened the shop, you've started telling people about it, do not stop. So market it. That's what I'm calling rolling your sleeves. Now get to work your idea every day. Kama lazima uamkie hiyo place saa 12 amkia. That is the work now that goes into it. Okay? Because if you say you have opened your shop and the doors are always closed, then you don't have a business. You are not in business. Now focus on growth. Aspire that your business gets to grow. And even if you're in business, the same rules that we said in the beginning. When you get some money, manage that money wisely and retain part of that money. Don't eat everything so that you can plow back as a business person. That will go a long way in helping you as a business person. Then keep that focus and soon you will be impacting society. How will you impact society? Soon you will be employing someone in your shop to help you. You know that you'll have created employment that will have some positive impact in society. Soon you will be donating some things in your society. Soon when your business has grown, you will also help take another person to school and sponsor them and so on. So this can be your journey, some of you that are on this call. Some of you already started with that journey. Keep going, okay? Where do people get business ideas and opportunities from? So I just want to mention this in passing. When we get the opportunity to now talk entrepreneurship properly, then we get to break this down. But I just wanted to mention some of the areas. There are very many. Actually, I recently published an ebook, I told you last week, that teaches you how to generate your own business ideas. But some of the places we get those ideas is societal problems, the complaints that people are making around us. I told you might be coming from a place where people are complaining that there's no kinyozi here. For us to go and shave, we must travel a longer distance. So that can trigger you to realize there's a gap here that needs to be filled. Sometimes we get ideas from climatic changes. Okay, so suddenly we've entered into a hot season. And so that might trigger you to think about selling ice cream to people. Or we go into a rainy season, you start selling umbrellas to people, or any other idea that can go well with those changes. We get ideas, we can see opportunities from your talents, your skills, your endowments. Like when I discovered and agreed that God had gifted me with the gift of speaking to inspire, and also the gift of listening. With humility, I love listening to people. I love listening to people. And last week I told you the first time someone spoke to me about marriage. Oh, I was in Form 3, and they reached out to me and talked to me about their marriage. So the signs started early, but every time someone reaches out to me with a need, I always listen. And when later on I came to commercialize these gifts, the listening bit fitted very well in the coaching aspect, because that's where I get to sit with you one-on-one. So if I'm not a good listener, one-on-one coaching will not work. Okay, so that was not a gift that was just random. Okay, it has its place. Then the speaking now helps me as I give my public addresses, keynote addresses, as I train people, and so on. So get to look at what God has do good business. Technological changes, okay? When social media came, people were excited about it. They were able to connect. Shortly, people started complaining, this thing is... Others also started asking themselves, how can we use this thing positively? Okay, now we are using social media for business. If you visited my page on Facebook, for example, I do not post personal stuff on Facebook. In fact, my personal page is almost dormant. It is just existing because it is the one that is holding the business page, because you can't open a business page if you don't have a personal profile. So when I was opening the business page, I needed to use, I then started growing this brand. I had to mute personal drama on social media, because what you do on business and off business is usually treated the same by your clients. Okay, so you cannot be speaking obscene things on your personal page and say, this is my personal space. Their clients you will lose because their values do not agree with what you are doing on social media. Okay, so if you have opened a business page, please respect it and keep it business. Right. Political changes. Okay, we've also spoken about AI, so that can also give you ideas. Political changes, we are going into electioneering period. Some of you will make money from an electioneering period. There are many things you can do when we are going into an election system, rather an election period. When we are going into an election period, people make money differently. Okay. Some people, when you're going into an election period, will be printing posters. I don't know what else you think can make people money when you're going into a campaign and electioneering period. Just tell me in the chat box. How else can we make money tapping on political changes when we are going into an election period? How else do you think we can make money? I've just given you one, printing of posters. What else do you think can give us money during a campaign period? Just utilize the chat box. Yes, they've started coming. We are asking what else, how else can we make money? You think of when you think about a political season, a politically charged season, an electioneering season? Wow, and some brilliant ideas have been given here. Before we get into the campaign period, someone is saying if you have an empty garage or basement or space, people will pay you to store their boxes there. Yes, that is true. Okay, so in the election period, someone is saying printing campaign merchandise. Yes, like reflectors, nakofia, that is true. Being a campaign agent, yes, for an aspirant, that will give you some money. Public address system for hire, correct. Selling mineral water, yes, in those rallies. Na watu wanamkia rally asubuhi, aspirants wanafika saa 8 na kuna mtu aliamkia hapo saa 12. You see, part of why we are learning these things, and that's why we say entrepreneurship plays a role in political stability. It will make you not to be an idler. You see, if you have an idea that is making you money, you will not close it because you want to go and attend a rally, or you will not close your shop so that you are in the stadium at are coming at 2. Sasa watu wamechomwa na jua kweli kweli. The whole day, they have eaten nothing because of political energy. Okay. A couple of weeks back, I was in my village and the president happened to have been there. So when I was returning, there's the border guy who carries me to the bus stop. So he was giving me a story of how border people were paid 200 shillings to go and be part of the audience where the president was. These are part of political games that people play. So now I was asking him, can we do some maths? On a normal day, how much do you make? The guy tells me he makes up to 1,000 shillings in a day. Okay. So, and many days he actually makes more. So I asked him, because of political energy, you are given 200 shillings to use your fuel. And where the president was a bit far. Actually, the whole fuel of 200 shillings is done. It is done. Actually, you might even go back to your pocket. And you're not going because you support the aspirant or the president. You are going because you've been given 200 shillings to make you blind, not to see your business. So you close your business. You put fuel of 200. That time you're not seeing that it is your fuel. So you use the fuel you put yesterday that was supposed to be your fuel for work. And you go to give someone political mileage. Okay? Then you're given 200 shillings and you spend there the whole day. They actually came because they need early in the morning, kwamba uwanja imejaa, they are making noise and chanting and all those things. And then now the aspirant will come later in the evening, and then sasa baadaye wakishatoka ndio sasa nyinyi mnaanza kurudi, and you've been paid 200 that you actually don't have. You will agree with me, we are not serious sometimes. So my prayer for you is that you will not be used in that manner. Okay, presenting songs, that is true. There are some people who will be able to come up with songs for the campaign period, and that will be able to give them some money. Okay. Existing products will also help us. Existing products can give you ideas. How can it give you ideas? Some products might require value addition. Maybe where you stay, there are many farmers who produce milk. So they're just selling milk as milk. So every farmer has, and they're just selling raw milk. So if you live in that area, na umeona watu wameanza kuchanuka chanuka, you might start thinking about yogurt, for example. So you will add value to the milk and make yogurt and now start selling yogurt or maziwa mala, okay? And that begins to also give you money. So that is an idea that has come because of an existing product. Or you come from an area where people are harvesting mangoes. So they are farming mangoes. So they're just selling raw mangoes. And some of them are complaining that the mangoes are not getting enough. Develop processing those mangoes into juice. Okay, and so you start selling mango juice, for example. So get ideas of breaking down the products available into smaller portions. Okay, so maybe the shops around you are selling sugar starting from 1 kg or half or quarter. And where you live, you realize maybe students don't have money to even buy quarter. So you can now buy that sugar and break it and tell them you actually sell sugar from 5 shillings. Okay, you will be in business. So you've just used existing products to come up with an idea of breaking it down to meet the demands on the ground. That's what I'm calling product innovation. You could choose to break it down, you could choose to repackage it, to rebrand it, and so on, as long as you're not breaking the law. So you're just doing it in a good way. There are people selling onions in the market, in the open space. You realize that everyone going to buy hawana karatasi ya kuweka ndani. So you could go buy the nets, alafu unafungia ndani. That's how those vendors who sell in nets started thinking. Okay, so because kama unauza karibu na barabarani or in a marketplace, people will be happy just buying what has already been wrapped. That's what I'm calling product innovation. Okay. You could also use current events. So a football match is coming near you. You could go there to sell water, like one of you has said, to sell people snacks and things like those ones. Franchises is what I explained when I was talking about barter. So you can look at existing businesses and then you approach them. Instead of starting yours from scratch, you ride on a name that is already existing so that you do not perhaps struggle so much to start from scratch. Just a few of how you can be able to make money. Okay. Then I want to say a few things about managing money. And I'm just emphasizing on the budget. It is important that we learn to spend our money with a plan. Okay? And a budget simply means that you sit down and tell yourself, I am expecting to receive a certain amount of shillings. When I receive that money, I want to do this. 5 shillings to do this, 2 shillings to do this, and so on. That is a budget. So it's not a complicated story. Every person who knows how to count money can budget. And that's why I'm saying you need to learn to start giving names to your money. If you have money that does not have names, it will respond to any name it is called. So maybe it was money for food. But when a friend comes and tells you, hey, boss, let's go and watch a movie, or let's go and watch soccer somewhere, they're paying 50 shillings, and you go, that money has been called soccer. It has agreed, it has responded. So you use it for soccer. Now, when the time for food comes, that's when you remember, oh, I had money and it was to be money for food. Sasa unaona utakaa njaa kwa sababu pesa ya chakula iliitwa soka na ikakubali. So that's what a budget does. It helps you to put names on your money so that your money does not stay confused. So that you have a portion that is called rent, if you'll be paying rent. You have a portion that is called transport. You have a portion that is called bundles, if you are buying bundles or airtime, and so on. Please embrace the habit of budgeting. Why do we need budgets? Very many reasons. I just want to mention two. One, a budget is important because your money world is measured already. Yes. Whether you are in business or you are employed, the world of money is a world that is measured. If you are in business, you will agree with me, you will not be earning any amount you want or you wish. You will only be earning profit that is in line with what you have sold. If you sell an item that has a profit of 100 shillings, even if you wished to get 1,000, the fact remains you have received 100 and not 1,000. It is measured. If you are employed or someone engages you so that they pay you some wages, they will not pay you any amount you want. They pay you a specific agreed amount. Those of you that are here and perhaps are employed, you will agree that you don't just earn any salary. It's a salary that is predetermined and agreed in advance. You also don't earn any time you wish. The money comes at a specific time. And even when someone engages you, they tell you, come and do this electricity repair for me, nitakulipa ukimaliza. So even if now you want money a lot, you have to wait until you finish. Another one will tell you, sina pesa leo, you do the job, I will send you the money on Friday. That is the arrangement. So that world is already measured. Who gives you power to think that when you receive money that is already measured, you can spend without measuring? It does not make sense. Something. Secondly, we need a budget because it will help us to avoid wastefulness. Wastefulness is an enemy of financial progress. Many people today would be very far financially were it not for wastefulness. We use money without planning. We use money anyhow. We buy things more than we need. We buy things we don't need, sometimes to impress others, sometimes for others to think that we have made it. And all those things are wasting our money. So to avoid that wastefulness, you embrace a budget. Okay? Many people when it comes to their own life, you don't see them having that energy to defend a budget. So different people don't embrace budgeting for various reasons. I have categorized people into 5 categories. My prayer is that you will not fall into any. One is people who believe that a budget is complex. Hizo ni vitu za watu wa finance, hizo ni vitu za watu wa accounting. That is not true. A budget is for anyone who knows how to count money. So if you are here and you know how to count money, you have already overqualified for budgeting. Okay? So you can budget. Remember, I said it just means you sit down and say, I am expecting this much money. When it comes, this is how I want to spend it. And then when it actually comes, you make sure you spend it the way you plan. There are people who avoid it because they think it is a disruptive thing. It is coming to change their lives or to force them to live in a certain way. A budget is not supposed to change you. It is supposed to reflect your life. It only brings boundaries. Remember, we have said that world is already measured. So a budget is only coming to help you measure, put boundaries where there's to be. That's the if you know that you are a Christian, you go to church and you believe in the doctrines of church, that you are helping people control. But it is simply because you refused to reason. Okay? So please embed your life in your budget.